All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're tackling some pretty huge questions. Like, how did the universe begin? What's the deal with humanity? And could there be lost civilizations out there? And get this, we're exploring all of this through just one source, Plato's Timaeus.
Timaeus is a fascinating work. It's a philosophical dialogue packed with mind-bending ideas and stories that'll really make you think.
It's like, whoa, Plato was way ahead of his time.
He really was. It's incredible how he, a philosopher from ancient Greece, used stories and dialogues to bring his ideas to life.
Right, and Timaeus is the perfect example of that. It's structured as a conversation between Socrates and his friends.
Yeah, and they're trying to create this, image of an ideal state, a perfect society.
It's like Socrates is saying, hey guys, let's brainstorm. What would this perfect society look like? What kind of problems would they face?
Exactly.
And then Critias, one of his buddies, jumps in with this wild story about Atlantis.
Ah, yes. The legendary island civilization that vanished beneath the waves. It's so captivating. This idea of a vanished civilization, creation, and destruction that plays such a big role in Timaeus. But before we go cosmic, what makes this Atlantis story so interesting?
Well, first off, Critias didn't just make this up. He claims he heard it from his grandfather,
Okay.
who heard it from the Athenian statesman Solon. And Solon, this wise guy known for his travels, supposedly heard it from Egyptian priests.
Wow, so it's like a chain of whispers across time,
Yeah.
adding layers of mystery to the story.
Yeah, and the story itself is epic. Atlantis was this powerful, super advanced empire, an island located somewhere beyond the Pillars of Heracles, which we know today as the Strait of Gibraltar.
Oh, okay.
They had it all. Sprawling cities, advanced technology, a massive navy. It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It's amazing how this advanced civilization ultimately meets its end.
Yeah.
According to the story, Atlantis gets a little too ambitious, trying to conquer lands all over the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
including ancient Athens.
But the Athenians, even though they're the underdogs, they beat them.
It's like the classic battle between good and evil.
Right. And then, just to make things even crazier, massive earthquakes and floods hit Atlantis and boom, it sinks beneath the ocean.
It's almost like a morality tale, reminding us that even the most powerful civilizations can be vulnerable to the forces of nature and maybe even to their own arrogance.
It really captures your imagination, makes you wonder if there's any truth to it. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if somewhere deep down in the ocean, there were remnants of this lost city?
It would be incredible. But I think Plato was doing something more than just telling a cool story here. Don't forget, he was a philosopher.
Right.
And he used these stories to explore deeper ideas,
Right. Like how Atlantis kind of mirrors the whole cycle of creation and destruction that we see in Timaeus' account of the universe later. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's switch gears. From the epic tale of Atlantis to another fascinating character, Timaeus.
Yeah, that transition from Atlantis to Timaeus and his cosmology, it's very intentional. It's like Plato's setting the stage for a discussion about creation on a much grander scale.
Okay, so who is this Timaeus guy? What's his story?
Well, Timaeus is different from Critias. Critias was a politician, a relative of Plato himself. Timaeus is described as an astronomer, a philosopher from Locris in Italy.
Oh, okay.
It's almost as if Plato's bringing in a specialist, to talk about the universe.
So we've got this division of labor. Critias, the storyteller, gives us the tale of Atlantis. And now Timaeus, the scientist, the philosopher, is going to tackle the ultimate question: how did this whole universe come to be?
Exactly. And you'll see that Timaeus' account of creation is just as captivating and thought-provoking as the Atlantis story.
Well, I'm ready for it. Let's dive into Timaeus' cosmology. What kind of crazy theories did he come up with about the universe?
Well, Timaeus starts with the idea that the universe was created by a benevolent god, a divine craftsman that he calls the demiurge. But here's the twist. The demiurge wasn't just building a machine. He was creating a living being, the universe itself.
Wait, hold on. The whole universe is one giant living thing. That's a pretty radical idea even today. It's like something straight out of science fiction. Did the ancient Greeks really believe that?
It's definitely a bold idea.
Yeah.
And it challenges us to rethink our place within the cosmos.
Yeah.
But remember, for the Greeks, the line between science and myth was a lot more fluid than it is for us today.
Oh, right.
So Timaeus is kind of blending those two worlds, weaving together philosophical insights with mythical imagery.
That makes sense. It's like he's trying to explain the unexplainable using the language and concepts that were available at the time. But how does he describe this living universe? Did he think it had a heart, lungs, and maybe a prophetic liver like he later gives to humans?
Well, he doesn't go that far. But he does say that this cosmic creature is perfectly formed, infused with a soul, and that it was modeled after eternal, unchanging patterns that he calls the forms. Think of these forms like divine blueprints, the ultimate ideals the Creator used to shape the universe.
Okay, so we've got this divine creator, the demiurge, using these forms as blueprints to create a living, breathing universe. And this universe has a soul. That's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, and to make it even more wild, Timaeus says that the demiurge used the four elements, fire, air, water, and earth, in perfect proportions to create the world.
Right, the four elements. That's classic ancient Greek thinking.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is how Timaeus brings in geometry to explain the shape of the world. He saw it as a perfect sphere, the most beautiful form of all.
Exactly. For the Greeks, the sphere represented completeness, harmony, eternity. It was like the ideal shape, reflecting the perfection of the divine mind. So by shaping the world as a sphere, the demiurge was expressing his own nature.
So it's like a cosmic work of art, with the demiurge as the ultimate artist, carefully choosing the perfect shape and proportions.
Precisely. But Timaeus doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
He also dives into the creation of time and the celestial bodies. And this is where things get even more mind-blowing.
All right, I'm ready for more cosmic insights. How did Timaeus explain time? Did he think it existed before the universe, or was it part of creation?
That's a great question.
Hmm?
Timaeus' answer might surprise you. He believed that time wasn't something that existed before the universe. It was created alongside the cosmos, as a moving image of eternity.
So time is like a reflection of something bigger, something eternal.
Exactly. And to mark the passage of this time, the demiurge created the sun, moon, and planets, setting them in motion within their orbits.
I bet he had some pretty complex explanations for those movements. The Greeks were really into astronomy, trying to understand the patterns of the heavens.
You're right. Timaeus describes these movements as a sort of cosmic dance, a perfectly choreographed ballet. It creates day and night, months and years, giving us this sense of time passing and a framework for understanding the calendar.
Wow, it's like this huge celestial clockwork, with each celestial body playing its part in this grand cosmic symphony. It really makes you appreciate the scale of the universe.
It really does. And this sense of wonder only gets deeper as Timaeus moves from the creation of the universe to the creation of humanity. But before we dive into that, I think it's good to pause here and think about what we've learned so far.
Good point. We've covered a lot. So for our listeners who might be new to Timaeus, or to Plato in general, let's do a quick recap.
Okay, so we've learned that Timaeus believed the universe was created by this benevolent god called the demiurge. He used eternal forms, like blueprints, to create a living, breathing cosmos infused with a soul.
Right. And this universe, shaped like a perfect sphere, is made up of the four elements in perfect harmony. And time itself is a creation of the demiurge, marked by the movements of the sun, moon, and planets.
And all of this sets the stage for Timaeus' next big topic, the creation of humanity. But that, my friend, is a story for the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait to see what mind-blowing ideas Timaeus has in store for us when it comes to humans. Stay tuned, dear listener, for the next chapter in our exploration of Plato's Timaeus. Okay, so let's jump back into Plato's Timaeus and see what this guy has to say about, how humans were created. Did his ideas line up with the whole living universe concept, do you think?
Well, get ready for some more cosmic subcontracting. Timaeus says that the demiurge, that divine craftsman, decided to delegate the task of creating humans to lesser gods.
So even gods need to outsource sometimes. I guess everyone has deadlines, huh? But why hand over something so important? You'd think creating humans would be something the big guy, the demiurge, would want to handle himself.
That's a great question. It points to this key idea in Timaeus. The demiurge, being perfect and eternal, created the universe and its soul. But to populate this world with beings capable of change, growth, and ultimately, a return to the divine, he needed something different.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So these lesser gods step in to create something a little more dynamic.
Exactly. They created humans with a dual nature, an immortal soul, a spark of the divine, directly from the demiurge, and a mortal body made from the elements of the physical world.
So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. We get the best of both worlds, a piece of the eternal and a taste of the material. What was the point of all this? Why bother with a mortal body at all?
Well, for Timaeus, the human form is a vessel, a vehicle for the soul to experience the world, the material world. It's through our bodies that we interact with the universe, with all their senses and limits. We learn and grow and hopefully evolve, like a cosmic boot camp for the soul.
Boot camp, huh? Sounds intense. But I get it. We need the physical to experience this reality.
So did Timaeus give any details on how the human body actually, works? I mean, this was way before modern medicine.
Oh, he definitely got into it. He describes the head as the most divine part of us, holding the immortal soul and the center of reason. And he explains how our senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, all bring information from the world to the soul.
It's like, what, a bunch of messengers delivering news to the soul, like nonstop. That's a cool image. What about the brain? A philosopher would be pretty into how that works, I think.
You're right. Timaeus describes the brain as a sphere of marrow located within the head, where that divine seed of the soul is planted. He also talks about the spinal marrow extending down through the body, connecting the brain to everything else. It's like he's hinting at, the nervous system, even without modern anatomy.
That's amazing. They were really trying to figure out this human machine, weren't they? Did Timaeus talk about other parts of the body too, or did he just focus on the brain? Oh, he did a whole tour. He talked about the heart, lungs, stomach, the liver, everything. And he didn't just, describe the physical parts. He tried to connect them to their roles in how we experience being human. For example, he describes the heart as the source of our vital heat, pumping blood throughout the body, fueling our passions and emotions.
So the heart wasn't just a pump, it was the engine of our emotions. Makes sense. I mean, I can feel my heart racing when I'm excited or scared. What about the lungs? Did he have anything interesting to say about them?
He did. Timaeus saw the lungs as a cooling system for the heart, especially when we're feeling strong emotions, like, taking a deep breath to calm yourself down.
Ah, so deep breathing exercises have been around forever. Good to know. But you mentioned the liver earlier. Didn't he have some unusual ideas about it? Something about it being prophetic?
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, Timaeus describes the liver as a mirror reflecting images from the mind, influencing our desires. He even suggests it can give prophetic messages, especially during sleep or after death.
Hold on, a prophetic liver. Okay, now that's something you don't hear every day. I wonder what my liver is trying to tell me right now. Maybe I shouldn't have had that second slice of pizza. But seriously, what's the deal with that? Why did he give the liver this special role?
It might seem weird to us, but the liver was a mysterious organ to the ancient Greeks, associated with strong emotions, even with divination and fortune-telling. Remember, they didn't have our understanding of the brain, so they looked for explanations in other parts of the body.
So it's like they were mapping the inner landscape of the soul onto the body.
Exactly. And the liver, with all its blood and its location near the stomach, seemed like a good candidate for a connection between the physical and the spiritual.
That's fascinating. It really shows how much our understanding of the body has changed. But speaking of change, did Timaeus say anything about how humans could, improve, become more in tune with that divine spark?
He did. And his ideas are relevant even today. He stressed the importance of balance between the soul and the body, our desires and reason. He believed that by living in harmony with ourselves and the universe, we could achieve real health and happiness.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, that balance. Sounds like good advice even thousands of years later. But how did he think we could achieve that? Any practical tips?
Absolutely. He was all about moderation, taking care of the body, and most importantly, cultivating the mind. He believed by studying the universe, understanding its laws and principles, we could gain insights into our own nature and learn to live in greater harmony.
So knowledge is the key to unlocking a better version of ourselves. I like that idea. But wait, there's got to be more to this creation story, right? What about all the other creatures? Did Timaeus have anything to say about animals?
He did. And this is where things get a little interesting. He suggests that animals, like humans, were also created by the lesser gods. But hold on to your hats, because he then says that humans who lived cowardly or unrighteous lives might be reborn as women in the next life, and those who neglected philosophy might be transformed into animals.
Whoa, reincarnation with a twist. Sounds like he's saying there are consequences to our actions even after we die. Like a cosmic system of checks and balances?
Seems that way. This idea of transmigration, souls being reborn into different forms, was pretty common in ancient Greek thought. It's a reminder that we're all part of this huge interconnected web of life.
We're all in this together, humans and animals, trying to climb that cosmic ladder. That's a powerful image. Where does it all lead?
Well, that takes us to the last part of Timaeus' account where he brings these ideas together, like into a vision of the cosmos. It's a vision that's both awe-inspiring and thought-provoking, leaving us with more questions than answers.
Sounds like we're wrapping up this wild ride through Timaeus. Get ready, listener, for the grand finale. All right, so we've journeyed through the creation of the universe, explored the human body, and even touched on the idea of reincarnation. What else is there in this grand cosmic tapestry that Timaeus is creating?
Well, now we've seen the individual pieces. It's time to take a step back and look at the whole picture. The amazing thing about Timaeus is how it brings all these different elements together, cosmology, anatomy, philosophy, mythology, into this unified whole.
So it's not just a bunch of random ideas, there's a bigger point to it all.
Absolutely. One of the key themes is harmony. Remember the demiurge creating the universe with the four elements in perfect proportion, shaping it as a perfect sphere. It's not just a coincidence. It reflects this belief in the importance of balance and order, both in the cosmos and in ourselves.
So like a cosmic jigsaw puzzle, everything has to fit just right. But how does that relate to us, to individuals?
Well, if the universe is this perfectly ordered, harmonious creation, and we're a part of it, then we have a responsibility to maintain that harmony within ourselves and with the world around us.
So it's not just about the parts, it's about how they all work together.
Exactly. And for Timaeus, achieving this harmony starts with knowledge. Remember how much he stressed cultivating the mind. By studying the universe, its laws and principles, we get insights into our own nature. We learn how to live more in line with the cosmic order, so to speak.
It's like he's saying that by understanding the universe, we can better understand ourselves.
Exactly. And this ties back to Plato's theory of forms, those eternal, unchanging patterns that are like blueprints for everything in the physical world. When we study astronomy, cosmology, philosophy, we're essentially trying to get a glimpse of those forms, to connect with the eternal truths that are behind everything we see.
It's like a journey, a quest for wisdom that leads us closer to the divine. So Timaeus isn't just teaching science, right? He's offering a path to like self-discovery and spiritual growth.
Absolutely. But it's not a path with easy answers. Timaeus' account of the universe is, well, it's full of mysteries and contradictions. It leaves us with more questions than answers. And that's what's so great about these ancient texts. They don't just offer insights into the past, they spark new questions, making us want to keep exploring those mysteries of the universe and what it means to be human.
So even after this deep dive, we're left with a sense of wonder, wanting to learn more.
Exactly. And that's the sign of a truly great philosophical work.
Yeah.
It doesn't just give you the answers. It sparks this passion for asking questions, for a lifetime of inquiry.
Well said. As we wrap up our deep dive into Plato's Timaeus, I'm curious, is there one question, one takeaway that you hope our listeners will, think about as they go about their day?
If the universe really is this living being, like Timaeus says, what does that mean for our responsibility to it and to each other? And how can understanding the cosmos, its origins, its intricate workings, how can that help us live better, healthier, and more meaningful lives?
That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Timaeus. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.